Saluton, parolas Tomaso, kaj mi estas tie ĉi kun
Logano.
kaj rebonvenon al Lernu kun Logano. All right, so lesson 3 starts you out with some exercises. And it's basically a review. I want to point out that the exercises for the first part, you just have to answer who was washed. I get a lot of students sending me lessons with detailed translations of this first part. But for part 1, it's just a question of, who was washed, that sort of thing. Who did the washing? Just see if you understand. And for fun, I'm going to ask Logan to do the first exercise verbally. So if you write carefully now, you'll be able to catch that. Won't have to do it yourself. Mian fraton lavis mia patrino. Who was washed?
My mom.
Let me say it again. Mian fraton. In fact, I'll say it real loud. Mian fraton lavis mia patrino.
Oh, your frater, your brother.
Yes, the brother was washed. That's what the ends over here mean.
Who did the washing? Your.
Shh, you can do that at home.
Oh.
All right, in this 10 lesson course, we're going to stick to the We're going to skip that. Okay, now we have some vocabulary, and we'll do it the way we have been doing it. We'll see how much Logan knows already. Horo.
Hour.
Yaro.
Yard.
Yaro. Kiel agia vi esta? Year. There we go. Mateno.
Morning.
Minuto.
Minute.
Minute. Nocto.
Night.
All right, now remember in the last lesson we talked about infinitives that end in I like they do if you find them in a dictionary. That's how these next verbs are written. Attendi.
Wait.
Yeah.
To wait.
Yeah, to wait. It's best to think of it as to wait for. And we'll come to that when we do some of the exercises. Fumi.
To smoke.
Yes. Why did you make a funny face? You weren't sure?
Yeah.
All right. Curi. We talked about this one in the last episode.
Oh yeah.
Mi curas rapide por ne esti.
To run.
Yes. Sati.
Sit.
Yeah, this one's actually a tricky one because we never actually say sati. We usually say malsata. Malsata. Granda Mazi says that's malseca.
Oh.
Granda Mazi says mi estas malsata.
Then he just clacks.
Yeah, he's hungry.
So yeah.
Yeah. So sata means to be satiated. Or sati means to be satiated. And promeni. Foje mi promenas. Alla parco.
Go to.
Yeah, it's to go by foot, and then it says to stroll in the key here, but it's a way of moving with your feet. Some more adjectives. These happen to be colors. Blanca.
White.
Blua.
Blue.
Bruna.
Brown.
Flava.
Gosh. Pink.
And that's rose colora.
Oh.
Flava is yellow.
Yeah.
And grisa.
Gray.
Yeah. What color is this? Kiu colora estas tiu pulovero? You can say purpura or viola.
That means for instrument.
And some more vocabulary. Semaino. I know.
Week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you know this one. Because I thought you were going to say weekend. Semaino is week. How do you say week? Just for fun, how do you say weekend? How do you say end? Semainfino is the weekend. Tago.
Day.
Vespero.
I know.
It's a time of day.
Afternoon.
Estas pli posta ol posttagmezo. Do estas mateno.
Noon.
Mateno, kaj tiam estas tagmezo, kaj posttagmezo, kaj vespero,
Evening.
kaj nokto.
Evening.
What's nocto?
Night.
Yep. Soifi.
Soify.
Soifi, mi soifas.
Oh.
Mi devas trinki akvon, char mi
Thirsty,
soifas.
thirsty.
Yes, to be thirsty. Vivi.
To live.
Yep. And it's specifically to be alive, right? So that's what vivi means. Demandi.
Ask.
Yep. And to ask a question. So
But how do you say demand?
postuli.
It sounds like post office.
Yeah.
Or without the office, but
It's-
just post.
It does, doesn't it? Nigra.
Black.
Ruja.
Red.
Yeah, we did that one in lesson 1. And verda.
Green.
Verda.
Why is there no blanca?
I'm glad you changed your shirt because I forgot to change my shirt.
Wow.
Okay, so now we have to talk about adverbs. Adverbs most of the time will end in the letter E. So if you have a word like bona, which means good,
Bone.
it becomes bone, which means well. That's part of the reason I had you listen while you're waiting for this episode to watch that Lolly episode, because it talks a little bit about adverbs. Okay, there's a note in the lesson about the pronunciation of the letter E. And actually I thought about that while watching the video that I recommended last time with the American Esperantist. He pronounces E slightly different from how I pronounce it. You could say bone, 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 right? Like the E in get, bone. Or you can make it a little, to me it sounds brighter, bone, 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 right? And that's, either way is fine. Okay, so now we're on to the first, the part 2 of the exercises. And the point here is and there's some hints in there as well, to tell you to use an adverb to say what you're trying to say. Like, my brother will stroll in the morning. Notice there's dashes in there. Can you see that?
Yeah, that means just one word.
One word. So let's just do this first one just together. My brother,
Mia frato. Mia frato.
mio frato, will stroll. It's promeni.
Promeni.
No, promeni is the word you find in the dictionary. How do you make it will stroll?
Promenos.
Promenos. And then they have this, it's called a prepositional phrase in English, but
Matene.
matene.
And matene.
Yeah, mia frato promenos matene. And so the rest of them follow that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just like you can add an A to a pronoun and make it a special kind of adjective, you can do the same thing with numbers. So let's say I have the number unu, and you add an A to the end. What does it sound like?
Unua.
Yeah, what does that mean?
First.
Right, and let's say I said deck,
10.
and if you add an A to the end,
Deca.
and what does that mean?
10th.
Yeah, cent,
100.
and you add an A to the end.
Centa.
What does that mean?
100th.
All right, that sounds pretty easy. All right, Logan's got this one down. Hope you do too. Just also point out that the lesson contains some bigger numbers like cent, mil, and miliono. Actually, you probably just looked at it, didn't you? How do you say? What does mil mean? Do you know?
1,000.
1,000. Yeah, and it's like the Roman numeral M. We should put a big M right here on the screen. Yeah. That's means 1,000.
And with the spikes, like boom, 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 boom.
How big do you want that M to be? Like this? All right. So let's do lesson 3, number 11 together. The first man loves the second woman. So how do you say the first man?
Unua vira.
Yeah, but you have to say the first man.
La unua vira.
La unua viro.
Amas
Yeah.
la dua virino.
All right, so remember we need to show what's receiving the action. So how do you say the second woman, thinking that she's the one who's receiving the love?
Virinon.
All right, say the whole thing. The second woman.
La dua virinon.
All right, so here's another thing we need to watch out for is that it's actually la duan virinon. So the adjective, just like we add the J's, I don't think we said this yet, have we?
No.
Just like you have to add the J's to the adjectives and to the nouns, you add the N's to the adjectives and the nouns. So it would be la unua viro amas la duan virinon. Another thing to watch out for is the adjectives. The best place to put them is usually just before the word they modify. And I'm thinking about that specifically when we're talking about the one that says the shop makes brown bread badly. You can put the adjective on the end there, the adverb on the end there, or you can put the adverb.
Makes bad brown bread.
Right.
Bad bread.
Well, there's a difference between bad brown bread and brown bread, making brown bread badly.
Yeah,
We'll wait for the exercises to see how that goes. What we're talking about now is the word estas. And one of the things that you got to watch out for, once you get used to adding the N's on the mothers and the cakes and all the things that are loved and baked and had and forgotten and all that, you get so used to adding an N after the verb, people a lot of times will start doing that all the time. With a lot of verbs, sometimes you don't actually say what you're doing it to. You could just say mi curas, right? And you don't have to say what you're running. You're just running, right? Mi curas. You don't need any more there, right? And the other thing is with estas. Estas is kind of like an equal sign. So it's saying that the thing that the subject of the sentence and the word that comes after estas are the same thing or kind of have the same qualities. It's used slightly different ways. So with estas, you never put the N on afterwards.
Like Logano, estas, filon.
Logano estas, yes. In fact, that's a good one. Logano estas mia filo. Notice there's no N on the A and no N on the filo, right? Because Logano and mia filo are basically the same thing. Good example. Okay, so now we come to the last part of the exercises. So they're all sentences with estas, as I recall. As always, take that text, cut it, paste it into an email, send that to us. We'll take a look at it. Thank you for everybody who sent the lessons last time. We're filming this episode ahead of time, so I think we're going to spend a minute just to sort of magically put text around the screen for anything we forgot to say. Like there, and there, and there. How do you say there in Esperanto? Do you know that? Tie, tie, tie.
And what's the difference between here and there?
Ah. Tia chi, tia. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Gis raviro.
Gis raviro.